All right, so you're dreaming of like crystal clear streaming while you're cruising the Caribbean, right? But those old satellite dishes, I don't know, they're about as outdated as a map drawn on a napkin, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's pretty old school.
You're ready for an entertainment upgrade on your yacht, and this stack of articles you sent over about marine Starlink suggests you're looking at ditching the satellite for good,
Yeah, times are changing. It's quite the shift.
for sure.
Those clunky satellite domes were never exactly known for sleek aesthetics or being, you know, budget-friendly to install either.
Okay, so we're in agreement. The old way just isn't cutting it. But before we get into this whole marine Starlink thing, can you paint a picture of just how pricey and complicated these traditional setups really are? I mean, why should our listener care enough to even consider switching?
Well, imagine this. Dropping around $20,000 just for the satellite dome itself.
Oh,
And
wow.
tack on another $10,000 for the fun of installation.
Just to install it.
Yeah, and for the cherry on top, those hefty Directv packages, which I'm sure, don't exactly come cheap, especially for multiple receivers.
No, they don't. So we're talking some serious cash just to get started. But beyond the cost, what about those limitations mentioned in these articles? Something about coverage, it going south, literally.
Yeah, literally south. Once you're below Nassau in the Bahamas, reliability starts to, dwindle. And high-definition channels, let's just say if you're venturing below Georgetown and the Exumas, you better be prepared to make friends with standard definition.
So not exactly ideal for exploring those pristine waters most of us dream of.
All right, so we've established the old way is essentially the equivalent of using a flip phone in the age of smartphones. It's time for an upgrade, and this is where this whole low Earth orbit satellite technology comes in, right?
Yeah.
What exactly is Sat Bahamas Streaming, and more importantly, how does it solve these problems?
You hit the nail on the head. LEOSat, or low Earth orbit satellite technology, is the backbone of this new wave of maritime entertainment. Think of it this way. Those old geostationary satellites are like giant disco balls in space, big, slow, and past their prime. LEO's satellites, on the other hand, are more like a perfectly choreographed swarm of bees, smaller, faster, and far more efficient. Okay, so a fleet of nimble satellites zipping around the Earth, beaming down high-speed internet directly to my yacht. It sounds impressive, but how does that translate into actually enjoying my favorite shows or music while I'm at sea?
That's where the streaming part comes in. These LEO satellites, with Starlink being the most recognizable player, deliver a strong, stable internet connection, even in the middle of the ocean. This means you can seamlessly stream content from all the usual suspects, Netflix, Spotify, even live television, without the lag or buffering nightmares of old.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. But there's another piece of this puzzle that keeps popping up, something called an MDS Blender. And honestly, it sounds more like something I'd use to whip up a smoothie than to revolutionize my onboard entertainment.
Right.
Help me out here.
The name is a bit deceiving, I'll admit it. But trust me, the MDS Blender is where things get really interesting. Imagine it as the maestro of your internet orchestra. It takes all available internet sources, your LEO sat connection, 5G if you're in range, even a backup cellular connection, and blends them into one super fast, super reliable connection. We're talking speeds up to 1 Gbps.
Hold on. 1 Gbps, even out on the open ocean, that's faster than what I get at home.
Sometimes, yeah.
So no more buffering battles between the kids, no more frustrating interruptions during movie night.
Precisely. And here's the kicker. The MDS Blender also eliminates those annoying geo-blocking restrictions that can plague streamers. It provides your vessel with a US or a UK IP address, essentially tricking those services into thinking you're safe and sound on dry land. So yes, you can finally binge watch that show everyone's been raving about, even if you're anchored off a remote island in the Pacific.
Okay, you've definitely piqued my interest. This is starting to sound almost too good to be true.
It is a lot to take in, especially considering the limitations of traditional systems. But the truth is, this technology is a game changer, and we're just scratching the surface.
This really does feel like we're stepping into the future of yachting, huh?
It's pretty amazing.
But let's talk practicalities for a sec. Aside from the obvious wow factor, what does this technology actually mean for someone out on the water? Why should they ditch their old setup and go all in on marine Starlink?
That's the question,
Yeah.
right? Beyond the tech specs, it's about transforming the experience. Imagine this. You're anchored in some secluded cove somewhere, the sun is setting, and you're streaming a live concert with, I don't know, friends and family back home. All in crystal clear HD. No lag, no buffering, just pure enjoyment. That's the promise of Ring Starlink.
Okay, that does sound pretty idyllic, I have to admit. But it's not just about luxury, right? There's some real tangible benefits here that go beyond just having more entertainment options.
Oh, absolutely. Remember those cost projections we talked about earlier for the traditional satellite setups? The $20,000 for the dish, the $10,000 installation, and those never-ending Directv subscriptions.
Yeah.
With Marine Starlink, you could potentially eliminate all of those. We're talking about some serious cost savings, both upfront and in the long run.
Now, those are numbers I think anyone listening can get behind. But beyond just the financial aspect, isn't there also something to be said about the simplicity, the ease of use? I can only imagine those old satellite systems could be a real pain to manage.
Oh, tell me about it. With traditional systems, you're at the mercy of complex, wiring, finicky hardware. And let's not forget the dreaded satellite dish alignment every time you move.
Ugh.
Marine Starlink, on the other hand, is designed for the digital age. Think plug-and-play simplicity. You're using the same familiar interfaces as your smart TV or your smartphone, making the entire entertainment system incredibly user-friendly.
So less time troubleshooting tech, more time enjoying those breathtaking ocean views.
Exactly.
Music to any yacht owner's ears, I'm sure. But you mentioned earlier that we're just scratching the surface here. What does the future hold for Marine Starlink and maritime entertainment as a whole?
Well, the really cool thing is that this technology isn't static. It's constantly evolving. We're already seeing faster speeds, wider coverage areas, and the features are getting more sophisticated all the time. Imagine a future where you can access real-time oceanographic data while you're streaming a documentary about marine life.
Wow.
Or say you're really into underwater exploration. What if you could experience those depths virtually, all from the comfort of your yacht, thanks to the power of VR integrated with your Marine Starlink system?
Okay, now you're talking about a whole new level of entertainment and exploration. It's incredible to think that what might seem like science fiction today could be a reality for yacht owners in the very near future. But for now, let's bring it back down to earth a little bit. We've talked about the problems, we've explored the solutions, but there's one more crucial piece to this whole puzzle: the benefits beyond just the obvious stuff.
Right, and those less obvious benefits are often the ones that have the biggest impact. Imagine this. You're on a transatlantic voyage. With Marine Starlink, you can stay connected with loved ones back home through crystal-clear video calls. You can work remotely without a hitch. You can even access telemedicine services if you need them. It's about peace of mind, staying connected to what matters most, even when you're hundreds of miles from shore.
That's a really good point. It's about more than just entertainment. It's about enhancing your entire onboard experience, from safety and communication to work and leisure. It's about bringing the conveniences and connectivity of modern life to the open ocean.
Exactly. And for those with crew members, providing access to high-speed internet and a diverse range of entertainment options can be a huge morale booster, especially on those longer voyages.
A happy crew makes a happy captain, as they say. But speaking of happy captains, I have to ask, are there any potential downsides to this technology? Because honestly, it all sounds almost too good to be true.
Yeah, you're right to be a little skeptical. I mean, there's always a catch,
For
right?
sure. While Marine Starlink is incredibly promising, it's still reliant on, a network of satellites.
So coverage in certain extremely remote areas, it might be a little limited depending on the provider's reach. And as with any internet-dependent technology, data usage is a factor to consider.
Ah, yes, data limits, the Achilles heel of the streaming age, right?
Pretty much, yeah. But let's be real for a sec. Those are relatively minor considerations when you think about the massive leap forward this is for those of us who, live and breathe this yachting lifestyle.
I'm inclined to agree. We've gone from these bulky, unreliable satellite dishes to what's essentially a high-speed digital portal. It's opening up a world of possibilities, not just for entertainment, but for communication, safety, and like you said, the entire experience of being at sea is different now.
Exactly. And this kind of speaks to a larger trend, I think, don't you? We're seeing technology actually bridge that gap between, like, the conveniences of life on land and those unique experiences we seek out on the open water.
Yeah, it's like those old maritime tales of ships navigating by the stars. But instead of celestial bodies, we're harnessing a constellation of satellites to enhance our journey in ways those early explorers could only dream of.
What a perfect analogy. It really is a remarkable time to be exploring the world by sea.
Well said. So to our listeners out there, if you're tired of choppy satellite TV and you're ready to embrace the future of onboard entertainment, connectivity, peace of mind, this deep dive has hopefully given you plenty to consider.
I'd say so. Weigh those options, explore the possibilities, and who knows, maybe we'll catch you streaming your next big adventure live from the middle of the ocean.
That's the dream. Thanks for taking the time to break it all down with us today. Until next time, happy cruising.